Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the episode 3 spoilers review of the Book of Boba Fett. I am Taylor Field, the Pikes Taylor Field.
And I am back to tank Kirklin Patzer.
Yes, and before we get into the spoilers, we're just going to do some plugs. Oh, God, my mind is actually so slow right now. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. Yeah, me too. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerse our Twitter. GeekVerse on our Facebook. And Patreon as well.
There you go.
Ad-free, exclusive, early content on there. It's a good time. What do we got? We just did news episode this Monday. What else did we do,
Yes,
Kirklin?
we drafted our picks for the video games of 2022 as well as the movies. So that was a really fun time for both those casts, and I'm excited, come a year, see how we all did. Are you hopeful for your chances this year, Taylor?
I'm extremely optimistic. I think I want to do like a vision board and put the movies on my wall, manifest them.
It's funny because I feel like there's a couple on my list that could just completely either not come out or just completely bomb, and then it really brings me down. But I hope I got some big ones. We were talking about this offcast how you didn't believe I actually had Batman, and I got Batman this year, so I was extremely.
I remember it now. I just can't believe Travis let that slip.
Well, I got first pick. If
yeah, that's
first
true.
Pick, he probably would have taken it. Yeah, I think he was hurting when I grabbed that one from him.
Yeah. Well. I think that's it for plugs.
Yeah, killed it. Do we have any polls coming out? Probably not.
There's some polls. I got a guilty pleasure poll that I want to put out.
A pleasure poll?
It's a pleasure poll. My guilty pleasure poll, not like a inappropriate pleasure.
I was gonna say on your personal profile, GV brand. How are we doing this?
But yeah, check that out on the Facebook. But yeah, I guess let's get into non-spoilers.
Let's just
first,
get into
I guess.
it.
Yeah. So what do you think? Non-spoilers first here.
Yeah. So if you stuck around to our reviews last two. Was I on the last two episodes?
You're on the last one, but not the first one.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. It's late, but so yeah, last week's episode, I spread my thoughts on how I feel like I just lowered my bar of expectations for the show, and I definitely think that helped in this episode. Because there was moments I was actually quite into it, and then I think it just kind of steered in like a direction of like reminding me of the things I didn't like about the first two episodes, and it's like, oh, okay, so yes, I've lowered my expectations a little bit. I don't want to say it's like, okay, this is a failing show or anything. I don't think that's the case. It's just to the caliber that I was maybe naively expecting going into this show. I just lowered them a tad, and it made me like it. But then, yeah, so a couple moments that would go back that I just didn't like about the first two. So it like left not a sour taste in my mouth, just like, not something sweet or something. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. But all in all, I think it was a pretty okay episode. There were some cool things that happened in it that I was really into, and there's some things that just again made me laugh out loud. And I think that helps me viewing the show because it just makes it more enjoyable for myself, even though I might not be thinking it's like the perfect decision to be making show wise. But hey, I'm probably in the minority in that sense. But I don't know. I thought we went back to some fun places that I liked from episode 1, and it's just, yeah, I like seeing Mos Espa, Tatooine again. It's a nostalgia place, so it's always fun being there, and just getting maybe seeing a different street corner or something like that. Just unraveling some things that I might not have seen before, in those areas. So that was fun. Trying to think anything else non-spoilery. I think there was a couple moments where the score really hit me actually in like a really like good way. I thought they put them really well in one or two scenes that I'll shout out in spoilers. But so that I feel like I haven't really noticed it too much throughout the show, but those ones really hit me. Other than that, I thought some action in here was pretty fun. It reminded me of like almost how like the combat or something in Star Wars I feel like could come off I don't know, cartoony in a certain way, but
Hmm.
it's not in a bad way. It's just like a Star Wars way, and I think I felt that in this episode, and that was definitely a positive because I think that's what another thing that just makes Star Wars unique is the way that they handle combat or something in certain situations. I don't know. If that's I don't know. That's the best way to describe it. I'll just pass it along. I'm just gonna keep rambling if not.
Well, this episode was absolutely amazing. It's definitely my favorite one so far. Uh, it's just we got so many things that I wasn't expecting, and it blew my mind. It really did. There's one thing that I'm kind of unsure on, and I'll bring it up when we get into
Yeah.
spoilers. I'm not sure how I
Save
feel about
that.
it. It feels like it's very disconnected from Star Wars, but that's just my
Yes,
personal
I think I
opinion.
know exactly
Yeah.
the scene or sequence you're talking about.
But that being said, I loved everything else. Like everything else in this episode. Like I really, really liked it. And I liked a lot of stuff in Mandalorian, but this I just was like salivating and eating it all up. It was just
More
was
so the
like so
Mandalorian?
good. Like Mandalorian in many aspects is definitely like super incredible for me, but
Mm.
I wouldn't rank this over a lot of those things because
It'd
like
be
you
pretty
got
early if you did that.
it would be too. It
Episode
would be
3.
too early. Yeah, I mean, you got Luke Skywalker, you got Ahsoka, you
Oh
got all
yeah.
those amazing Mandalorian moments. Again, this wouldn't beat that for me.
Yeah.
But like this, just in its own category, it's just such a great chunk of Star Wars
Yeah.
content.
You don't always have to compare, right? Show to show. Like
Hmm.
this isn't trying to be I'm not even going to say Mandalorian's that high stakes of a show, but like this still feels lesser, but it's not
Yeah.
like it has to be on that same caliber. Like we can go to just the Book of Boba. Like why not? Even if some people like myself aren't loving it, just put that content out there. Again, it's just more Star Wars, right? Which I don't think that's ever a bad thing. People might argue that, but yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I'm glad you
Yeah.
really liked it. Anything you
Oh
want to
yeah.
say, spoiler free? That I don't know. Maybe you
Um,
disagree or agree with some things I said.
just a I mean, I feel like this episode is full of Easter eggs, full of awesome,
Yeah,
juicy
there
little
was a couple
things.
I wrote down, which I was surprised I even caught. I think it was like I heard it. Maybe I should just say this for spoilers. I'll say that. I'll hold my tongue.
Yeah,
Anything spoiler free, or do you want to just jump into it?
I think we can jump into it. Do we
Yeah.
do an ad break before we get into the spoilers? Is that how it
Yeah, we'll
works?
do an ad break just to be safe.
Cool.
I like that one. Yeah. And we will be right back. And we're back. So yeah, spoiler section away. I want to just take us to the moment that I think you were talking about. I might be wrong, but like the biker gang.
Cyberpunk has literally
Yeah. Oh,
joined Star Wars.
literally cyberpunk, and they got like Vespas in the street of Mos Espa, and they're like the colors of the Power Rangers. There were so many things going on with those characters that
Oh
they
my
introduced.
goodness.
There was moments where I was just like, I cannot believe this is like happening right now. Like they just seem so out of place. It looks like someone like photoshopped them into like a Star Wars scene.
Yes.
It was so standouty because you have Boba Fett in his armor, um, Mistress. Oh my gosh, what's her
Fennec.
name? Fennec is just like in her armor, very Star Wars esque, and then you just have these like leather jacket wearing like cyberpunk street kids on their Vespas, and it just and like the colors were just so much brighter than I was like I felt I don't know was going on with the background and like the other characters around. It just for me it really really stood out, and I really wasn't a big fan of them. Um, but then there was moments when they were like using their powers and everything, and like using like their fucking cyborg powers, and I was just like, I feel like I'm starting to like this a bit, and then they would do like their pose, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is just weird. So,
Mhm.
yeah, overall, was not a fan of them. What do you think of them?
I felt like again, I don't want to be one of those like not my Star Wars kind of guys, but it just didn't feel like Star Wars to me. It really didn't. They strolled in the
Absolutely.
way they were dressed. I mean, if I could relate them to any bit of Star Wars media, it would be okay. Canto Bite. These guys are right out of Canto Bite, and they're running the streets over there. But like how they were dressed, what they were rocking. The whole dynamic was to make them appear as if they were poor and being cheated on and overworked and everything. I got the sense like these guys were fucking set and rich.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Do you see
they're-
those Vespas? Those are
yeah,
nice.
the Power Ranger Vespas. Like, come on. Oh my
We
god.
have no work. We have no work. What are you talking about? We're starving over here. Meanwhile, they got like all their augments and like they're just clean cuts and everything.
Yeah.
It was, I agree with
the-
you. I think it very much stood out and didn't feel Star Wars.
The last I mean, I'm sure there's other moments of these augmentations where they combine droid parts with themselves. And the last time that I can remember seeing that would have been in Rise of Skywalker, John Williams' character when he's playing the bartender on oh god, why can't I remember the name of the planet? It was the one that was destroyed. It was the one where they met Zori and
Yavin 4?
no. It's where Zori was on, and
I don't even know
that's
who
all
that
I can
is.
remember. Zori, she was the girl with the helmet that was posed like kind of love interest.
Oh my
Kinda
god,
like-
okay. I was thinking the original trilogy. Yeah, okay. I
Oh, no.
definitely don't remember.
No,
I think I've seen Return to the gosh.
Rise
What is it even
Skywalker.
called? Rise of Skywalker. Thank you. I think I've literally only seen that once, and I really liked it the first time. And I've heard everyone that watched so they're like, "Oh yeah, it gets bad." I'm like, I don't think I
man.
want to revisit
It's
it.
aged very well.
It has. Okay.
For me, it has.
Okay.
But there's a character that, again, John Williams plays a character in that as a bartender, and he's got like augmentations on his body, and like I let it pass, but I thought, okay, it's like a little bit kind of odd. I'm not used to the augmentations. It kind of reminds me of like the Borg from Star Trek a little bit, and it just for me,
yeah, I never
it
liked that
seems
guy.
a little out of place in Star Wars. But I mean, at the end of the day, I can get over it because there's so much more positives for me in this episode
Yeah.
than that one
Well,
iffy one.
let's go positive then. What did you like about this episode? Give me something nice and juicy. After that bitter pill we just swallowed with the Vespa kids.
To be honest, like I got scared in this episode. Like
You did?
I got frightened. Like
Was it Kirsten?
it was
causing
Black
that fear?
Chrysanthemum.
Yeah.
Now I did a Cryptid Clues episode earlier with Ruben, so we're all in the cryptid realm
Ooh.
talking about Bigfoot and everything, and all of a sudden Boba
Right.
Fett's being jolted out of his back to tank by Bigfoot. Holy
That was a rude awakening. Like, luckily he wasn't
Yeah.
just like bare cock, just like naked in the Bata tank. This guy just rips him out. That fight scene. Okay, I agree with you. It was terrifying the way that it just started. Part of me was like, "Is this a nightmare? Is this a dream sequence? This is so weird." And
Yeah.
then I think I kind of got taken out a bit of just seeing like Boba, just old man Boba, just getting beaten the fuck out of this Wookiee. Like, I feel like the Wookiee could have killed him in like 3 hits. I don't know if it's just our main character just looking older than like a prime bounty hunter. It was very strange to see him just getting tossed
I think it's
around.
probably because he just got pulled out of the back to tank. He was probably just
He was
juiced
all-
and like
he was probably like
superhuman.
lubed. That's right. He
Oh
was
yeah,
pro-
absolutely.
That's true. I never considered that actually. He was probably slimy. So when he was trying to like bear hug him, he was just like slipping around. Yeah, no. So I think overall though, that was a very good scene. It was nice and dark, and just again in Jabba's, throne room, which is now Boba's throne room. It's just, I love that setting. I love anytime we're there. It was like one of my favorite maps in Battlefront 2 back in the day. And just like the Gamorrean guards and stuff. Like I just love that setting for Star Wars. It's that scene with Luke in there. Like so many awesome things happen in that scene or that setting, and it was great to have a fight there with the Wookiee. And the Wookiee was definitely menacing. And then I think
Ooh.
again, like the street kids come out with like their gadgets and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh,
God.
this is starting to feel like a sci-fi like channel thing with these kids. Like I really didn't like them in the episode. It looks like they're Boba's new fighting force going forward, so we're definitely going to see them again soon. But yeah, overall, I think the like I don't know, like the Wookiee was definitely menacing, but I think Boba, he just looked so vulnerable, and I just don't believe he got out of that with like no scars. And then these kids that I just didn't like on there.
He
so.
definitely got scars, I'd say, because I mean that Wookiee like took a chunk out of his hand, which I couldn't even imagine.
That's fair. Yeah.
And yeah, just like when Boba got thrown into his gear, he took his I can't remember the name of it, but his Tusken Raider weapon, stabs it in Black Chrysanthemum's back, and
Yeah,
it's just stuck in there as he's walking around.
that
Oh
was
my god.
gnarly. Yeah, Wookiees are so menacing, and they're just. I just feel like if a human was hand to hand combat with them, like they're just no go. You know, if you played the Lego Star Wars game, the Wookiees just pop the arms off. That's
Exactly.
exactly what I was expecting to happen. So
Exactly. Like
it was weird.
it was creepy too when he's just like holding Boba and like crunching his back, and you see
Oh,
like
okay,
the
yeah.
shot of the toes like stretching out
See,
because you just feel it.
and in that moment, I'm like, oh my god, are we going forward? He's gonna be like a cripple or something. Like he's not gonna have access to his legs. I'm like, this is gonna be a crazy twist in the show going forward, and like a really crazy dynamic. But no, he's just covered in, in back to tank juice, which. Yeah, okay. I think I can give that a pass. I wasn't
Mhm.
thinking about that till you brought that up. But no, in that moment, I'm glad they showed that because it was just like, oh my God. Because like this is what I'm expecting to happen. You know, if we have naked Boba fighting a Wookiee that's just so menacing. And man, that Wookiee just looks so awesome. He's a
Oh
great
yeah.
design. I'm glad we're getting more Wookiees.
Absolutely.
Chewie's great, but like you know, put him side by side with what's his name, Black
Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum. I'll have to remember that one. He just looks so much more like war ready. You know, like not like a smuggler with Han. You know, like this one is a bounty hunter, and
Mhm.
you know the his fate was. Did you expect that to happen? What when the Hutts just gave him basically to Boba, and then he just wanders off.
I was so hoping, okay, Boba's gonna be like, "Why don't you work for me?" I was
I
just
was
gonna be
expecting
like
that.
astounded. I think
Yeah.
maybe it'll happen later
Oh,
on.
it definitely will happen. I was just like, where did he go? He just like
He just ran out into the
ran
Dune Sea, yeah.
yeah.
Find his
Got
own
some
Tusken
friends.
Raider group. Got a
He
whole
comes back
other
wearing the
dream
same
sequence with that.
robes. He's that's the last episode. They meet on the dunes. They're wearing the same
Oh,
clothes, and they just battle it out. Yeah. The latter half of the season is just like is Black Chrysanthemum. It's just like back to tank.
yeah, his
PTSD dream
flashback
sequences.
sequences, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
One more thing I wanted to note on with him is when he gets kind of overrun and the Gamorrean guards appear and he like tackles them down the stairs and
Oh
then
my
he
gosh. Yeah.
just takes a chunk out of that Gamorrean guard's neck. Like he's just biting people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's what I loved, like the Wookiee stuff. You know, the like he's using his natural Wookiees to just fucking decimate these guys, and that was awesome because
Yeah.
I feel like Gamorrean guards are so menacing, and then it just goes to show like a Wookiee can just dismantle two with these street urchin kids just running around him like that was really fun. I think I liked the fight more when it transitioned from the back to tank to like the throne room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. When they dropped him into the Rancor room and stuff, like,
yeah.
yeah, it was cool. It was very cool.
Absolutely. That trapdoor is getting a
Uh,
lot of use. It's
it
well
is.
made.
It's
You
gonna get
know,
some more use, I hope too.
Java got a shit ton of use out of that one. Now
Yeah.
Boba, they're not replacing
Yeah.
those hinges. That baby's good. Um,
Absolutely.
speaking of Rancor, can you believe we got a Rancor? That like blew my
I
mind.
couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I was hoping we would get it at some point, maybe like the end of the season.
yeah.
But right now, oh,
No, that was amazing. I'm so pumped. It's such a different take on the Rancor that we know. It kind of took me by surprise too, because the huts are just there, and we just see like Machete coming in on this like
Danny
this platform.
Trejo coming in.
Danny
I couldn't
Trejo.
believe it.
I know, I couldn't believe it. He's just got this Rancor, and like in my mind, I'm like, this is just ridiculous, but I love it. I love Danny Trejo. He's special, you know. I love just him in roles.
Spy
I can't see
Kids.
him Spy Kids exactly. I can't see him as anything except for just Machete though. Like that's just what my mind affiliates him
He's
to.
like the go-to with like Rodriguez's like projects. I should
Oh
have
yeah.
suspected he would have made an
Yeah.
appearance sooner or later.
Yeah. I didn't know that, but that's awesome. And okay, yeah. Fast forward, we have Boba just absolutely falling in love with this Rancor. They're definitely gonna be best buddies. They're gonna be riding into battle, which is just gonna be crazy to see. There was one moment though where I literally burst out laughing, and I had to write down because I didn't want to forget about it. But it's when he's just like so in love with this Rancor, and he's just I think he's just like rubbing his neck. He's like, "Oh yeah, that feels good," and he's just like going at it, and it's just like a pretty extended long time, and he's just like huge grin. You know, we've all been laughing about his teeth, but it's just like he looked so happy, and then gosh, I think it was like the droid that came in. It's like, "Sir, we need you." He's like, "Can't you see I'm busy?" And he's just like hard rubbing this Rancor, had like a huge smile on his face. It just like it was such a weird moment to see. I think the CGI was kind of showing in that moment too, when you just see him just like prolonged rubbing of this animal, which I just think that was so way too long than it should have been. It should have been like 1-2 seconds. He's like gives it a pat. Oh yeah, okay, we'll do this and go on, and then it just like progresses to the next scene. I think I just really didn't like his his interaction with it that much. But all in all, I'm so pumped to see a Rancor in there. And like I said earlier, it's fun, a different take on it, because the Rancor, I mean, just seeing it there with the blinders on, not attacking anyone, it's like one of the most menacing looking creatures all across the galaxy, right? And then we have Danny Trejo explaining how they're just like really really loving, and just not what's perceived of them, like on the surface level, I guess. And yeah, I think just him or Boba and the Rancor was weird for me, but I am excited to see that bond grow. And I don't care what you say. I think it's gonna be fucking crazy when he just rides that thing in a battle.
Oh, it's gonna be legendary.
Yeah, it's gonna be
That's
gonna be
the
legendary.
thumbnail right there.
Yeah. I can see it.
I couldn't agree more with a few of the things that you said. I definitely didn't mind like the long moments of him just kind of connecting with the Rancor.
Could you see I'm busy?
Yeah, that
And
was
like
good.
the way he said it, he's just like moving his body, rubbing this Rancor. It's just like, oh, great stuff.
I love that we got a Rancor back, and how they've changed the tone. The first time we ever introduced to a Rancor, it was just this John Williams theme or score kicks in. It's like menacing and terrifying. It's like, oh no, Luke is in danger. Let's hope he makes it out alive. He kills it. And now we have a replacement coming in to fill the void, and we've learned it imprints on. I mean, I just learned. I don't know if this is pre-existing knowledge, but it imprints on the first human it comes in contact with. They're very loving creatures. They bond with their owners, and it just kind of adds a lot more to that Rancor owner in Return of the Jedi. When his Rancor died, he came out crying. That I could never connect to that. I didn't know anything beyond. I thought, okay, he's just saddened by his creature dying. That's it. But now I understand. Now it actually is very heavy. I feel a connection to this Rancor when it opened its eyes and was just kind of taking.
It was looking right at you.
Yeah. I don't want anything to happen to this Rancor. If it gets hurt, I'm gonna get hurt. Like, it's gonna hurt very much. So
that's funny.
It was great.
Yeah. No. So, like, do you think people were making like an argument kind of with like how we had Crazy Hulk that was just like bulking and Hulk that we know, and then we got Smart Hulk, and I know Travis was semi concerned that, or like, I wouldn't even say concerned, semi resentful maybe is a better word, that we're not gonna like see that classic Hulk anymore. Do you think we're gonna see that classic Rancor of just roaring and tearing?
I was like, did we jump into an MCU chat?
No, yeah, this is episode 8 of WandaVision. No, I was just trying to make a comparison to like, something that's like super just vicious on the surface, like just a brute, and then we get like a more timid like version of like the muscle that might not be using to the full extent. Do you think we're gonna still? I guess there's two questions in there. Are you okay if we don't get like a crazy Rancor that's just like tearing shit up? And do you think we will get at least some of that in this episode?
I think you'll get a little bit of the Rancor like training and fighting and all that, which is perfectly fine with me. I definitely don't need to see like the Rancor going like ballistic. I've gotten a lot of that in Star Wars already. Return of the Jedi, Force Unleashed 1 and 2, and even in other medias as well. It's just the Rancors have always been kind of displayed as this one thing. There's the game that I played called, I talk about all the time, the strategy game Empire at War. And Force of Corruption, you can actually get Rancors and use them as units.
Ooh.
And you learn a little bit more about that, and the Dathomirian witches ride them as
Yes.
units.
That
And
was
that was
badass.
mentioned in this as
Yeah.
well by Danny Trejo. And that blew my mind that he just had to say, I think this is the first live action reference as well to Dathomir and the
Yeah.
witches
That's
as well,
awesome.
the Night
Dathmir's
Sisters.
crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I think you answered my questions. We should probably take an ad break, eh?
Oh,
Probably a
shit.
good time for that.
Let's do it. And we're back.
And we're back. Where do you want to go next, Taylor? I'll refer to my little notes here.
I got one thing we could just talk about. It's kind of piggybacking on the Cyberpunk crew again, but more so the water dude. I really liked when he kind of strolled in there, and this episode started to have moments where it felt like, okay, this guy's doing quests. Boba's going out on missions, and this guy comes in, he's asking for, help. I'll give you double the tribute of water. Get rid of these hooligans off the street, and he just happens to just stumble right on them fairly easily. But I like that whole setup. I like Mos Espa at nighttime and everything. So
Yeah.
the water guy was extremely shady.
I loved it. It was the actor from Dodgeball. That's like the only thing I think I know him from. He's like the nerdy one with like the glasses that like tells them about the dodgeball game. L for love.
That's really him?
Yeah, it was him. Totally. Yeah, I don't know his name.
How old did he age? Like
he had a beard. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
But no, I bet my life on that one. He's definitely same guy. God, I hope I'm not wrong. I'm gonna die. But yeah, no, I like that scene. That was the scene where I was mentioning like the score was so great because while they're talking, it's like really quiet, and then as it rounds up, it just gets really like kind of like a build up of suspense or something, and then it transitions to the next scene. It was just a really, really well done transition, and it kind of stood out to me. I don't always have like a big eye for, or big ear rather, for the scores and stuff in scenes, but what are you smirking? Was I wrong?
No.
Okay.
I agree with you. I agree with
Okay.
you. That score was definitely like really good at that moment.
No, that was fantastic. Fucking Boba should have just killed those street urchins or just like sent them on their way. God, I'm not ready for more
died,
Vespas.
If he didn't recruit them, then Wookiee would have killed them.
That's true. Yeah, it all comes back to the street urchins. They're their main driver now. They're gonna be destroying the next Death Star once we get that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say on that scene. The other thing I was gonna mention, I guess, was the back at the tank. We got the flashback, which I was hoping we wouldn't be getting. It's gonna be the theme of the show. I already know, so I'm just gonna prepare myself for next week. We see Camino again. I thought I was like watching the same episode because like that's the exact same flashback of episode 1, right?
It had the same flashback, yeah.
Yeah, it was, and then it was very bizarre because it just like had the Camino, and then it went to the desert. I guess now in retrospective, I'm like, are they just trying to say that he grew up in water and now he's in desert? Because he drops that line later on. Like it was just a very weird flashback to have. Like I know it got us to another flashback of him in the dunes. I gotta say too, he just looks like a Sith, like a dark Jedi. Like take away his 2 sticks that he's got. I think he's got a rifle and I don't know if it's the actual name. The gaffy stick. Yeah, we'll go with that. If he takes those away, he literally just looks like a dark Jedi walking around. He's got like the fucked up, weird, cracked, bald head. He just looks ghostly. Like he just looks like a Sith. So I appreciate the look. It's just again, it's weird because I feel like that is just such a different character for me personally than like what Boba Fett is. Maybe I'm just not liking this Boba Fett as much as I was hoping to like, but it just takes me away because I feel like I see those moments and then I see him in his armor and I get reminded of like the Boba Fett that I see. I don't know. I feel like I'm torn between the look and badassery of the bounty hunter that is Boba Fett, and then I'm seeing this version that I'm just not quite loving. I know you love it, so you be on the other side of the spectrum. Did you like the flashback? Oh, I should have said too. We see like basically the remnants of Anakin's slaughter of the the
Oh man,
damn
that
sand people,
that
man. They
really
are
hit
just getting
me.
murked every time that Boba just wanders off. I feel like they just get fucked up.
Hmm.
Is he
Absolutely.
to blame? Is he to blame? Maybe.
This sequence, like I feel like it at some point, because yeah, the flashback of Camino definitely was like, this is deja vu. I feel like next episode they're just gonna like transition into the Attack of the Clones and just squeeze the whole movie in there as a flashback. But this this time when we got back to Tatooine and he's leaving the Tusken Raiders, he goes off to the Pikes. I really like that. I love that the Pikes are being emphasized a lot, and I'll bring that up a little bit more at the end of the episode. But
And
in
you're right
this,
because you predicted that they're Pikes. They never said their name, but you were totally right.
yeah, I thought they were. But their looks kind of threw me off from cartoon to live action.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the whole relationship between the Pikes and the speeder bike gangs is kind of showcased here, where the speeder bike gangs kind of like protect them from everything, or give them passage, I guess, of their territory, and then Boba wants to change that. Boba wants to make it so that the Tuskens are going to benefit from this deal, and it sounds great on paper. And he goes back, and they're just obliterated, and I was almost brought to tears. Now, and I think that is great storytelling, because I watched Tusken Raiders in several of the old Star Wars films, and I didn't feel a thing for them. 10-year-old, 11-year-old Taylor sees Anakin just going to town on those Tuskens for killing Shmi. I'm like, yeah, fuck those Tuskens. They killed fucking Shmi Skywalker, and no remorse. But now I'm almost brought to tears when he's walking through. He sees the tribe leader, the chief, on the ground. I'm thinking, please don't show like the child Tusken that was like befriending him. I can't handle this. And that's great storytelling. That's one of the things that really boosts this episode up for me, amongst the others.
Yeah. I think I'm on the other end. I think I still just don't quite. Just
Fuck those Tuskens. That's where you're at.
I'm not quite there. I think the long flashback that we got last episode, or basically the whole episode, was that it made me definitely see them in a different light. But I think just seeing this here, I was just thinking to myself, like, why the fuck did we have this scene that he was just with the Pikes? Like, it was so useless. Like, okay, I'm gonna have this awesome deal for the Tuskens, and then he goes there because like the whole purpose is just to what, get like money for the Tuskens.
It's to benefit the Tuskens, so to have it so that I guess the Pikes aren't going to be like opening fire on them with their train anymore, and just kind of like letting them be, and maybe I
And now
guess
it's like
supply them.
mission accomplished. We have no more Tuskens. So
Well,
there's no
I
more
have a
Tuskens.
hunch that some of those Tuskens escaped, because they
Yeah.
didn't show all of them, and there's the one
I think you're
female
right.
Tusken that was training him, right? So I think some of them probably got away, and I think we're gonna see that. I hope that's the case. And
I think you're right because they didn't show the bodies of those important Tuskens. Only like
Yeah.
the one, I think.
just the one chief, yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm predicting. I do want to note the whole setup of the speeder bike gang being on the other end of the spectrum. I think him having this dialogue with the Pikes again was to use the speeder bike gang to kind of build up that motivation and kind of set up for what Boba's going to execute here. Again, you get that vandalism graffiti symbol on there, so he's just thinking these speeder bike gangs. How the speeder bike gangs were able to attribute Boba Fett in the bar to being connected to the tribe of Tuskens, I'll fucking never know. But I mean, they apparently figured it out.
Yeah, they could just be raiding, raiding and pillaging everywhere. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny because that scene makes me remember a thought that I had just while watching. And Boba, what's the actor's name? I keep forgetting.
Tamara Morrison.
Tamara Morrison. I feel like there's moments where I just think to myself, like, oh my god, he is just so good. Like he is absolutely fantastic. He is so good at just like having like the look of Boba, or just like the voice of Boba. Like he's just really good at just like certain body positioning or something. Like, I don't know what it is. He's just really good in those moments. But I think the more lines we get of him and like him just delivering lines in a certain way, it makes me really not like him as the main character. And I think that's a big holdup that I have with this show, because there was a few moments when he just like, I don't know, someone said something and then he has a quick look and I'm like, it like threw me off guard because I'm like, holy fuck, he's actually really good. Why was I shitting on him before? And then he gets to a line where he's just dropping. Some of it could be writing as well. I think that definitely plays a part. But I just I think when he's talking for longer moments, and especially, I don't know why they went this route where they just try and have his helmet off as much as possible. I think that's actually not helping it as much, because when he was in the streets of Mos Espa and he's walking around with his Boba helmet on, I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome. That, especially with that new green, oh baby, it looks good. And then he's talking to like the main biker chick, and then he just takes his helmet off, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay. And then I
like
just get less
level with
excited.
them, right? Like it's to kind of like
You're right.
pull the intimidation down.
You're right. No, I definitely see your point. It's just for me personally, it takes me out of it a bit because I want to see the helmet. I loved it with Mando. So.
You keep the helmet on if you were in his shoes. You wouldn't take it off for any reason.
Oh fuck yeah. No. I mean, luckily I don't think I would look as fucked up as him. I would never want to be in a Starlight pit for that long. But yeah, especially so. If I was in a Starlight pit, I don't want people seeing me. I'd be wearing that helmet all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you could just have like a nice, suave, like I don't even know, style about you. Like you're just mysterious and you're just dangerous. Nobody knows. It's like a benefit of COVID right now, where I can just have a mask on. Nobody knows what I'm doing with my mouth. You could be doing anything with your whole face.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, tongue out, everything.
Tongue everywhere. Yeah.
How did you feel? I'm curious. How did you feel about the sequence of the Need for Speed in the streets? The Vespas chasing the mayor's lieutenant.
That was definitely a moment when I'm like, what show am I watching? Like, this is not Star Wars. This is weird. I think it was mainly the Vespas. Part of me, like the start of it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. We're gonna get a race, or it's like a speed chase, but on the other. What's the best way to describe this? Like the other, like I feel like when I'm seeing a speed race with a car and bikes chasing it, I think it's like the good guys in the car, but this was like the opposite, or like our neutral guys were in their Vespas chasing the supposed bad guy. Yeah, it wasn't a bad part about the show, but it was definitely making, maybe it was a bad part of the show because it took me out of it a bit when I was just thinking like, this is just really weird for a Star Wars thing to happen. And I definitely would have taken more Wookiee moments, over this runtime. So what did you think of it? Are you similar? Not a big fan of it? Or did you eat it up? Did you love it?
Again, it was something I was not a massive fan of. It just seemed, I wasn't screaming, now this is pod racing by any means. Like, I would have preferred pod racers, but
I would have preferred pod racers as well. They have that Star Wars look. These Vespas are just, they look like they belong in the streets of Paris or something. It's strange.
They really do. They really do. They don't feel Star Warsy. I just want to know. I want to speak to whoever designed these and be like, what the fuck are you thinking?
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
What the fuck you doing?
Yeah, but
Throw a shoe at him.
I was definitely kind of additionally put off when they were using their special cyborg parts. The guy had the cyborg foot and was like semi punching the engine, and then the guy like Assassin's Creed wrist blade, which I actually
totally
was like, that's kind of cool. And he's like slicing the half of the engine, just super weird. But yeah.
Weird in a good way? Weird in a unsure way?
Weird in the unsure way. I really don't know. I just hope that the Vespas all get destroyed and they have to get actual speeders next episode. So,
yeah. No, I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of the design. I was kind of torn with the tech. I think I liked the idea of what it could be. I think the execution might not have been the best, because initially when that one dude turned around and he's got like a cybernetic, gosh, I can't even speak. It's late. Just like a cyborg eye or something, right? And then the lady had like a prosthetic arm thing. That was actually the jackhammer. Oh no, it was his foot, right? Like you said. In my mind, I'm like, this should probably be seen more in Star Wars, I would imagine. You know, just sci-fi, like that type of tech is around with droids. I would imagine if there's an amputee, somebody loses a leg, like it's not. I feel like it's pretty easy with the tech that they have to just make a robotic thing like that. So it kind of got me excited because I felt like, oh yeah, this is a cool new concept in Star Wars that I hope we see more of. But I think the more it was shown, I just didn't quite like the maybe because it
It's
was attached to the characters I didn't like.
it's I guess yeah, it is a new concept to a degree because like we see Luke and Anakin, they lose their arms and they just get new ones put
Ear,
in.
yeah,
But the Star Wars kind of aspect of that is it's you wouldn't even know, right?
yeah,
Or in this case, like Luke's hand in the sequel trilogy, it is like robotic. But it's constructed and its aesthetic is very much within the Star Wars realm. These ones just felt exponentially on Star
yeah.
Wars tech. That's my biggest con. So
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. Definitely good comparison to the Luke and Anakin's. I like how I was talking about. Oh yeah, you get your arm amputated. Maybe you could get a robotic hand.
yeah, maybe.
Fucking two most important characters in the fucking saga. But there you go. Goes to show how fucking tired I am. My goodness. But yeah, no, I. Do you think though, because it felt un-Star Warsy, was it because it felt, or because it was attached to the un-Star Warsy characters? Because they were very much felt out of place.
The girl I felt like was the most Star Warsy out of all of them.
I agree. She was my favorite out of all.
Yeah, the others I definitely felt there was something a little bit off. I felt like they all belonged in the club in Attack of the Clones when they're chasing the bounty
Oh yeah,
hunter, and
they
you
buy
just
death sticks.
they yeah
Absolutely.
they're buying the death sticks off of that Zebo dude or whatever his name is.
Hey, wanna buy some death sticks?
Yeah, that's the club they should be hanging out. Not just a random fire pit at Tatooine in Mos Espa, but my God,
They showed no respect to the daimyo. Like, yeah, what of it? We stole it.
yeah,
Like,
they
what
didn't
the
give
fuck
a
are you gonna
fuck.
do?
I mean, for all they know, Daimyo could have had snipers on the roof and just pop their ass. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, this guy's soft. I don't know what happened.
I
That's our
guess
like pit changes a man.
it kind of goes into reflection too of how the community is treating Boba. Like no one has much respect for him yet. Like he's really got to assert himself into that community. So
Even the guy said that, right? Like right at the beginning, the people aren't respecting you, and I, I feel like, we're not diving into that enough for the show or in the show for my liking of just like, okay, in the trailer we showed off that Jabba ruled with fear. Boba's gonna do it through respect, and I was expecting to just like command respecting these things. I feel like it's if people don't respect him, he's just gonna they'll come around. They'll come around eventually. Like there's no like super big badass moment that's really convinced me where I'm like, okay, if I was a street urchin kid right now and I was witnessing this Boba moment, I'm like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. I'm gonna ride or die with him for the rest of my life. I feel like
yeah.
I haven't been convinced of that as of yet, which a few more episodes, we could definitely get there. I hope we do.
Well,
'Cause I'm just,
next episode, I really do think it's gonna get there because okay,
yeah.
we have the Pikes coming in now, so the mayor is allied with the Pikes, which is just fucking fantastic. I'm stoked. Pikes are coming in. They're readying up for maybe a brawl or war. Now we know that the droid in this episode this is a foreshadow again. We can back it with the trailer scenes that we got of the show. The droid was talking about the Trandoshans. I think the Aqualish, and I can't remember the name of the third species as well, but this was in the meeting that you see in the trailer, Boba Fett having dinner with the different aliens. Those are all the same species. We're going to get him teaming up with the three districts, alien-owned
Yeah.
districts, to go up against the Pikes. And I love what we're going to get this, hopefully a syndicate-like battle all out.
Yeah.
All.
Man, I was actually really pumped in that scene, honestly. Like, just in the war room, strategizing, going over the different factions. Like, I live and breathe that stuff. That's, like, my favorite video game genre, is just, like, strategizing that way, right? So, when we were going there, I got really, really excited and hopeful. And we didn't dive into it any really more after this, like, after that sequence. So, yeah, I'm I'm expecting, just more of that because I think the politics of Star Wars, it's a divisive topic. Not everybody loves it. A lot of people get annoyed with it, but I've really grown to like it. Like as I've aged, I think when I was younger, I just loved the the early prequels for the Star Wars battles and like all the CGI stuff. I just ate that shit up. But now I can respect it a little bit more through the politics and stuff. And I was excited about that going into the show because that was a big talking point through the trailers and stuff of just like again he's politicking on Tatooine. Like how am I gonna run this crime syndicate instead of just throwing people in my Rancor pit. I'm yeah I we're on episode 4 next week, so first 3 episodes I give it a pass that we haven't like totally dove into that. I really hope that we do moving forward, or I think I'll like it less than I may already am at.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna throw one last ad break, and then we'll probably kind of come into a close here.
Hell yes.
So we'll be right back. And we're back. So I got a couple more notes. Do you have any more notes you want to touch on?
Oh yeah, I wrote down that we got Travis's favorite spider creature in the beginning of this episode.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like even from that first trailer, I didn't think it looked that bad. I thought it looked okay. And, shitting on the Hutts, what was it, last week? The week before, maybe? I guess I was only on the last week.
Last week, the twins, yeah.
The twins, I'm coming around a bit on the CGI on them. I don't think they look that bad. I think what helps is when they have CGI characters on their own, like with a backdrop, not with like a human character. I think it's a lot easier to believe it. And I think getting to my thoughts on the Rancor, I think that's kind of what took me out of it because it was pretty easy to see the comparison between our actor and the CGI creature. But I think it was smart that they just had the Hutts like on their own, and I like some Hutts. It seems like they're going away for a little bit. Do you believe that? Are they gone? Are they gone? Or are we just gonna focus on the Pikes and stuff? Yeah,
I could see that. I believe in what they say with their word. Like war is bad for business. So I think once things settle down, I think they'll come back. Maybe at the end of the season. Or whatnot,
that was a great line, by the way. War is bad for business because I just see the Hutts as these like really grimy slime balls, like business type people that are just crime filled, right?
Absolutely. Now, one thing I want to note on that, it's one thing where in the last episode you have the town sequence of the twins being carried through by a group of very unfortunate humans.
Yeah.
It's another thing when these humans apparently carried them through the fucking dunes of the desert all the way to Jabba's fucking palace.
It is hard to walk in the sand, let alone fucking carry these giant slugs. I don't care how many dudes you got with you. I don't know. I was just watching them, like the dudes holding them. They were struggling, just doing that turn. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? We got to do that whole walk again just to get out of here. Yeah, I feel for them. That is nightmare. Bottom of the barrel job. You never want to be that guy or gal.
Did you notice the cameo in the flashback of when Boba is strolling to see the Pikes? The camera panned to the side, and there was a character
I missed that
we're familiar with 3 droids. The one and only Miss Frizzle made an appearance.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I completely missed that one. That's with like the little eye.
With the 3 droids, yeah, they're all following her behind her.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, she should be there. She's on Tatooine, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's everything I got in my notes.
Man.
Yeah. Closing
Absolutely.
thoughts.
Closing thoughts. Not a whole lot. I'm pretty. I think my gauge on the show is pretty stable right now. So I haven't been super surprised. I think the biggest surprises were Black Curious. No, fuck. Say it for me one more time. Line.
Black Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum. Thank you. Why can't they call him like Never mind. Never mind. I was gonna give a different name. Um, Black Chrysanthemum and the Rancor, like those are probably the biggest surprises for me. Not enough to make me like, oh my god, this show's crazy. I hope we get some of that going forward. But yeah, I'll be here next week.
Yeah, I'll be here too. Can't say the same for Travis. He's missed 2 weeks in a
No.
row now.
Yes, he's been AFK for the last few hours, so I'm excited to hear his thoughts. He mentioned he was kind of similar to me, I think, after the last review.
I can tell you right now, as soon as he probably will enjoy a few things with this episode, but as soon as Cyberpunk enters the stage, he's fucking out to lunch. He's not gonna be on board with that at all.
I think he'll feel the same way as me with the Rancor too. Just
He's big on
more-
CGI stuff.
Yes. And I feel like Tamara Morrison, did I say that right?
Yep.
Gosh, I'm tired. Yeah. I feel like he's slowly becoming like a new GV meme, which is always pleasant. It's always pleasant.
Oh yeah.
And I think Travis will like that quite a bit. But
He'll like that
Yeah.
scene. I found the good spot, huh?
and he's just like doing like basically the Tom Hanks, just like sawing wood.
The castaway thing.
Yeah. Like he just looks so like suspicious. Get out of here, I'm busy. What are you doing? Things. But yeah,
That's
it's good
great.
shit. Absolutely.
All right, well,
51
yeah.
minutes, pretty good runtime.
Perfect. We will be back next week, and wow, I just got a message in the GeekVerse chat. Shouts to Kyle Smid. This last episode was awful. There you go. Video review from
Smith's
Kyle
quick
Smith.
review. Yeah, we'll do a cut out of that.
That's good timing.
That's hilarious. You should have joined us, Kyle.
You
Give
should
us
have.
this
Maybe we'll get it next week.
whatever time it is in Australia right now.
Absolutely.
It's probably actually a very pleasant time for him to do a review right now.
I imagine
Yeah.
so. Yeah. All right. Well,
That's hilarious.
we'll be back.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Bye bye. Have a good evening.